Well, hello, sister.
Hello, sister. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a while since we've been in this studio.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Welcome back, everybody.
Sorry for the delay. One of us was traveling, and then one of us got the flu. And
Yeah,
I did not get the flu. So,
no, I got the flu and it took me out. It kicked
hmm
my butt, still kicks my butt. So
yep,
if there's weird outages, it's because I had to pause for a cough. So,
yes. And it didn't only just take you out, it took out your girls,
uh-huh, which
all
is
like
three of
the
us.
worst.
Oh my gosh, the worst. All three of us were just down for the whole week. And you know what? It did, I had to come on and tell you guys because we talked about Spirit Week and how to
hmm
do all of those things. My kids missed Spirit Week, the whole thing. Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I
And
actually
also,
feel
yay.
yeah, also yay, like yay, but I also feel really bad. I felt so
Oh,
bad. They missed all of it and they were so excited.
oh
Oh,
no.
it was awful. But that's all I was thinking about was I was like, oh man, we were just talking about it. But they didn't get
Oh
to
no.
do it.
Oh no. That's okay. There's always next year.
Hmm.
It's fine.
Yep.
There will be plenty of spirit weeks in your future.
Yeah. Well, and they will still have one before the end of the year. You know?
Yeah.
This was like
Yeah.
pre-spring break Spirit Week. I'm sure there'll be
Okay.
another. Yeah.
Oh, there
They'll
will
get to
definitely
go.
be another.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually closer to the end of the year when the teachers are like, we're tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, I have to tell you guys, okay, I'm in Chicago right now. Just my lovely background. So we're
Love
shopping.
it.
I entered a new phase this week with my kids also, after the flu. Shopping.
Uh-huh.
Dude, like switching from, oh, they love this character, they love these colors, like you're just picking out their clothes. They pick them out too, but it's just like, oh yeah, this is the
Yeah.
character that I love kind of thing. My oldest, we went shopping, like shopping. Like
Yeah.
she was looking at her own jeans and her own shirts, and she's getting into the style. And I was obsessed. Nobody talks about how fun this is.
It's so fun, right? When they
It's
find their own style.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's just so cool. It's like, I feel like it's another layer that you're peeling
hmm
back of your kid of like, oh my gosh, this is who they are and like this is
Right?
what they love. And m my oldest is a little artistic hippie girl with her style, and I love it so much.
Uh-huh. That's because you are also an artistic hippie
That's
style
true. That's true.
person. So
Apple tree, you know what I mean?
it's fine. It's fine. I do like it is really fun. It is, well, first of all, it is also like when they're like, oh, I want to go shopping all the time now. So good luck with that because that's going to happen now that she
Hmm.
started. You've like opened this can of worms where they're like, well, you have a job, so you make money and I don't. So you get to just go take me shopping all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girlfriend,
Cool.
I'm gonna need you to get a job at the age of 9, please.
Yeah, right?
Because you pricey. And also, like, there are times where my 9-year-old daughter, she'll come out and she's wearing something. And I have to, like, almost bite my tongue where I'm like, that's an interesting choice. So this is all in my head. That's an interesting choice. It's not one I would go with. Is this worth saying something out loud because she might get made fun of? Or is this one of those things where, you know what? It's her style and we're going to go with it. So I'm constantly weighing those two thoughts. Most of the
Yeah.
time, it actually honestly just is like, okay, you know what? It's her own style. Go with it. But there are a couple of times where I've been like, hey, actually, I don't think you should like tuck your shirt into yoga pants because it doesn't look right because the shirt's oversized and then it just kind of looks a little funny. And I'm like, maybe that's not one that we tuck in.
Yeah. Well, and you have to be very careful, right? Because you don't want to like
hmm
squash their creativity or their
Right.
confidence. Like, I love that you're trying new styles,
Uh-huh.
you don't want to like go too far, but there are times. I mean, mine are still, I think because yours is older, like,
hmm
and again, with my oldest being at this age now, like you kind of start to get into more of that style.
Yeah.
I am just coming out of nothing matches, nothing
Yeah.
goes. They have
Yep.
clothes on their body and it is what it
Yeah.
is. But
Yeah.
definitely I could see as they get older, you have to be careful of like, oh, interesting choice.
I
Hmm.
love the way you're doing that one.
Yeah. You gotta be
Yeah.
careful though about how
It's
you're
kind of
wording
that
it.
balance because you don't want to like squash their creativity. So you're like, okay, I think we're just gonna go with this one. But also, there have been times where she comes out, she calls it like her mom outfits, which is hilarious to me. Like she comes out and she's like, look, I'm wearing a mom outfit. And she has like on the boots and the jeans, and it's usually her like boot cut jeans, like we talked about, with
Yeah.
like her little cute boots and like a cardigan. And I'm like, oh, I would wear that outfit. She's like, I know, it's my mom outfit.
Kind of a dig, but also like, you know what? Yeah, that is a
Yeah,
mom outfit.
I don't
Rock
even think it's
it.
a dig to her. Like she loves it. She's like, "Look, I look like mom today."
I will never forget. I when I was in high school, we had an ugly sweater party that we were doing, and I went up to
Yeah.
mom because our mom had all these crazy Christmas sweaters, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Mom, we're having an ugly Christmas party, so me and my friends are gonna need to borrow some of yours." And she was like, and she still talks about it, and I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry, but like, they're a little crazy."
They were a little crazy back then. And those are things, those are like gold right now. Like I wish we still had those. We
Mm-hmm.
don't though.
No,
No, she got rid of them all.
I
Probably because you
know.
you called them ugly.
Probably, probably. Again, leave it up to the youngest. You know what? Our filter kind of just goes away.
It's
I'm
not
gonna tell
there.
you how it is, which is actually really funny whenever like the me and Tiffany and one of our other sisters will go shopping, and so we'll like send each other pictures. And it always cracks me up because Tiffany and our other sister, like, they're so nice to each other. Like, oh, if you like it, I like it. And I come in so hot and I'm like, no, don't buy that. Nope, don't do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, that one. Or like, size down, that one's too big. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Nope, don't buy it.
Mine is always usually, and I do this with my youngest too. How do you feel in that outfit?
Yeah, you're
Because
so
if you feel
nice.
good in that outfit, go for it. I don't even care, honestly. You're coming to me for style advice, and I am not stylish. So if you feel good in that outfit, rock it. Go with it.
Yeah. But you know what? If it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's just how I feel. If you don't love it
That's
and
fair.
you don't feel
Yeah.
good in it, don't buy it.
Right. Well, that's why I ask, how do you feel in it? If
Yeah.
you feel amazing and it's maybe not something that I would go with, heck yeah, wear it. Absolutely. I'm not the one wearing it. I wouldn't buy it for me, but it looks great on you because honestly, all it takes is the confidence to pull it
Yes.
off,
A
right?
hundred confidence you
I
can
mean,
pull off
that's really all
anything.
it is. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all need the confidence of the 5-year-olds with the tutus and the swimsuits and the leggings. Do you remember when my youngest did
Yes.
that? Well, I guess she was like more near 3, where she had the leggings and she was wearing her little swimsuit, but it had like the little ruffle butt in it.
Yeah.
And it was like December, okay, like mom of the year as she's running around town in her swimsuit. Oh, and then the next day she put on Peppa Pig pajamas and then put the purple swimsuit with the other ruffle butt over it. And then like the Peppa Pig pajamas were long sleeves, and then then she got her coat on, and there were rain boots involved. It was a whole thing. But you know what? She rocked that
She
outfit.
rocked it and she loved
She had
it.
the
She
confidence, and
felt
she was like,
good.
"Oh, I know." She was like, "I am amazing," and I'm like, "Yes, girl, you
Yes.
are amazing."
It's like the cliche too, where like, guys are like, oh, who are you dressing up for? Other guys? And it's like, no, I'm dressing up for the
Oh,
13-year-old to think I look really cool.
obviously, like those 13-year-olds are kind of scary,
So scary. So
right?
scary. Dude,
Like
because teenagers don't hold back, like at
no,
all. Their
no.
filter is none. None.
I am not gonna lie. I am actually terrified of teenage girls. Like I don't have a teenage girl yet. Okay, so I have teenage boys. I don't have teenage girls, but teenage girls intimidate the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Like these girls that they are raising, they know stuff. They are super smart. They are super on top of it. They have no filter and they are so much cooler than I will ever be.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
hands down. Like, I don't think they understand how cool they are.
No.
I could never work with like teenagers on a daily basis because I'm like, just teach me your ways. And they're like, aren't you the grown up? And I'm like, am I? I don't think so.
No.
I don't feel like the grown up. I'm pretty sure you're cooler than me.
Literally though, like I think you're cooler and you have way more confidence than I do. So like can I get that back?
Right? I
Like
don't even think I had that much confidence as a teenager. Like,
no.
where do they find this confidence? And can I have some, please?
You know what though? We need to talk about how they skipped their ugly duckling phase because it's not
Yes.
fair. It is not
It's
fair.
not.
It's not. And
Nope.
I think a lot of it has to do with we didn't have social media. And so we were
Yep.
all so awkward, so
Yeah.
weird. Like our
Yeah.
clothes, our hair, like it was not a good time for us.
Right.
Okay. None
Right.
of us looked okay. It
Right.
was just bad. Pictures are awful to look at, but we didn't have social media to like hold us accountable to like
Right.
be more presentable. And so now
Right.
they don't go through that awkward phase. They like
Right.
go straight into being really pretty. And I'm like,
They're like
hold on,
swans.
hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went through a really long awkward phase.
Yes. Although I will say it is going to be interesting to see on the flip side, how they are as they grow up.
Yeah.
Because you have the social media, you have the online bullying, you have the filters, which we've talked about, you have the unrealistic expectations. So I'd almost like to see a study on this. This is the nerd in me. It's like, I'd like to see a study on this in what their 40s. I can't wait to see what their 40s look like.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think anybody is ever exempt from the ugly duckling stage?
Yeah.
Is it just going to come later for them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how is the social media going to affect these kids as they are growing up with these unrealistic expectations? Is it going to better humanity or is it going to worsen humanity? And I think that's something that we need to keep an eye on. Although, again, amazing style, teenage girls. Like,
Hmm.
you are rocking it.
Makeup, style.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But is it going to like, are they missing a necessary step in the growth that they need to get through in order to get here? Or are they truly just skipping that and they are going to be up here and then they're going to go even further? I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see how it goes.
It's hard to say because I could see it going both ways. Like I could
Yeah.
see where you're just skipping it, but I could
Hmm.
also see where there's a lot more confidence issues that they're just
Yeah.
not addressing. And so
Yeah.
then, yeah, like when they do get older and like, for us, we went through that awkward phase and then we grew up and blossomed, whatever,
Yes.
found
Yeah.
our style, found our thing,
Yeah.
felt better, felt more confident. And then, like we've talked about, you get to your 30s and 40s, and like you just kind of go back to that phase where like you don't care. You like what you
Yeah.
like.
Yep.
I wonder what that shift is going to look like because
Hmm.
so young, do they actually like these things or do they feel like they have to do it? Do they
Right.
feel like they have to be picture perfect all the time because of the filters, because people are always taking pictures? You always have to be ready. You always have to
Right.
look good. And like that's a
Right.
lot of pressure.
Is a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could do that. Oh, I mean, the joke was always in our family that I never took a bad picture. I think mom
that's
has
true.
one one picture of me where it is not a good picture. And she's like, "You just never took a bad picture." And
Yeah,
I'm like, "Yeah, but then I do feel the pressure of like always having to be like ready and on
ready, go.
and smile."
It is true though. Tiffany never took a bad picture, so much so that I know what picture you're talking about because
Uh-huh.
when we took it and it was the first time you had a bad picture, we literally went next door to our neighbor's house and we were like, "Oh my God, look at this picture of Tiffany we got." Like it was the whole thing because
Yeah,
it had never happened
but now there are bad pictures because we have the cameras that are there all
all
the
the
time.
time. Yeah.
So I just managed to be really good at knowing when to smile just perfectly.
Just
It's
ready.
fine. No confidence. I am totally fine. I know how to smile.
Yes, we got it. It's all that ballet training. Go.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Like we just had to stare at ourselves in the mirror all the time. So obviously, you're going to know exactly what your face looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? That's probably how kids and teenagers feel now because they're always looking at themselves in the phone,
True.
you
Very
know?
true. Yep. Very true.
So, kind of the same
Yep.
thing.
Also very true. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, speaking of ballet, really excited to talk about
Yes.
the book. But before we
Yes.
jump into that,
Yeah.
I have one topic I want to talk about that I've been reading about and I've been seeing a lot.
Uh-huh.
I did not tell Tiffany, so she doesn't know what I'm going to talk about. But I just want to ask you first,
Uh-huh.
for your pregnancies,
Yes.
how was that? How were the symptoms? How did it feel for you? Like,
Like we got married, I think it was like a year later. And I was like, I want to have a baby, obviously. Like it's time. We've
yeah.
checked the wedding box off. Let's go. And so I talked to my husband and I was like, okay, let's try. And he was like, it seems a little early. I'm like, nobody gets pregnant the first month. Like it just always takes a while, right? Especially, it just is, it's never going to happen right away. 1 month later, I had a positive pregnancy test. And I was like, oh my goodness. we, we were planning on it, but we were like, it was a little surprising about how fast it happened.
Yeah.
That one was, it was good, but full disclosure, as it turned out, I ended up having a shortened cervix. And I did end up on bed rest. So that kind of sucked. We had, I think, 3 visits to the hospital where they would have to give me an IV. I got the most expensive water bottle ever.
Yep.
My husband's like, will you please just drink water? And I'm like, it's so gross. I can't drink it. Ended up on bed rest, had preterm labor, which is how they ended up finding the shortened cervix, ended up on bed rest. Anyway, so that was scary. I think just because you'd never know like what you're going through for
Yeah.
pregnancy. And then the second one, obviously we still had the shortened cervix. I ended up on like they call it bed rest. I called it more couch rest. I could only sit on the couch. I could still like shower. But there was no like, don't go walk around the block, just sit down. I don't think I had any like crazy cravings. I did with my first have like a Cheetos and pancake craving, which
Oh,
was
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. And then with my second one, I had a tuna casserole and pickles craving, which was also really good. With my third one, again, we knew I was going to end up on couch rest at some point. So that was easy. Like, benefit of it is I got all the extra ultrasounds. I don't know. I mean, I guess, did I answer it correctly?
You
Like,
did. You did. So how, like for you, how was like morning sickness,
yeah.
like acne, any of
Uh-huh.
the symptoms? Like how was that for you? Like hair loss, fatigue?
Okay. So I think everybody's fatigued during pregnancy, right?
I mean, I think so. Yeah. Kicked my
Like
butt.
I feel like that's yeah, that's like a thing.
Yeah.
I did have major heartburn
Mm.
with all of mine, more so my second. Like that was like the most major heartburn. He had the most amount of hair and I had the most heartburn. Not so much for ironically, my first two had amazing heads of hair. My poor daughter did not get as much hair. She wasn't bald, but she didn't get as much hair. But yeah, I mean I think that was probably the craziest symptoms that I had was mostly the heartburn. I had like major heartburn
Okay.
and I was tired, but then I was also on bed rest.
Yeah.
So like I was
Yeah.
bored. Was
Yeah.
it exhaustion or was it boredom? I don't know.
Or were
Yeah.
you exhausted because you weren't moving, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, was it boredom and then exhaustion because I hadn't actually,
Yeah.
walked around my house.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so the reason I bring this up is because there's this whole thing going around the internet, which like it's kind of been known for a while, but like people are just discovering it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
the so much of your symptoms in pregnancy have to do with the dad and his health at the time of conception. So, like,
Really?
obviously, there's, like genetics and everything that you're going to pass
Uh-huh.
down to the babies themselves as far as health
Yeah.
and everything like that. But, like,
Yeah.
your placenta has so much to do with the dad's health at the time of conception. So, like,
Huh.
if you have like really bad morning sickness, really
Yeah.
bad heartburn, like all these symptoms, they
Yeah.
actually connect back to the dad.
Interesting.
Yeah, or
I
the,
had no
yeah.
idea.
Isn't that crazy? So,
That
like,
is crazy.
it's not even up to you and your health. I feel like prior it was always just, hey, before you get pregnant as the mom, these are the things you need to do.
Yeah.
And like no one really talked about the guy and his job in it, which obviously it affects like fertility, right? If you're having
Yeah.
fertility issues, like then they do talk about it more. But it
Yeah.
has so much to do with your placenta and your pregnancy symptoms, which is wild to me that like
Interesting.
not a lot of people know that. So if you are
No.
wanting to get pregnant, it's not just about you, it's about your
Yeah.
partner as well, getting
Yeah.
healthy.
I will say, my husband's gonna listen to this. He's gonna say, I've never craved Cheetos and pancakes. But he does have heartburn sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. See?
Interesting.
I just thought it was all the
Right.
mom. We
Right.
we have to do all the hard work, which we still
Absolutely.
do, but
Yeah.
they play a factor in how that's gonna feel.
And step it up.
Come on.
Be ready to go then.
Yes. Teamwork, teamwork. So basically all I'm saying is if you had a really crappy pregnancy, you can just blame
Mhm.
your husband.
Oh, yeah.
Free
Although
pass.
I'm pretty sure he has nothing to do with my cervix being shortened. So
Totally fair. Yeah. But you know what's also funny is like your first pregnancy and my first pregnancy are almost the exact same
yeah.
because I think I was 24 weeks when I went into early labor with Evelyn. It was about the
Which is
same
when I
time.
went.
Yep.
Yep.
And then it was the same thing. I was put on bed rest at 32 weeks.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And then 37, they were like, okay, she can come whenever. And I was
You're
like,
good.
cool. And then she didn't come out.
Yep. Yep. They just stayed there
They just
forever.
waited. Now my water broke, so I was kind of induced, but like my water
Yeah.
broke. But
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
similar kind of thing.
No.
Hmm.
Mine didn't. No, they had to break my water
Yeah.
and give me Pitocin. So,
Oh,
yay.
just the worst.
Right? Which, okay, can we do a PSA for anybody who is pregnant right now? This is not medical advice because I am not a doctor. But what I can tell you is from my experience, when they say, "Do you want Stadol?" you just say no
I wonder if they do
because
that
it's terrible.
anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't anymore. But I did it for my first and then was like when I went in for my other two, I was like, just so we are clear, no.
Yeah.
And one of my nurses, I don't remember which one it was, and I don't remember which pregnancy it was. She was like, "Oh, yeah, no, normally people only do that once and then they never do it again." And I was like, "Then why are you offering it?"
Yeah. I was never offered it. So
Oh, good.
I don't know
Yeah.
if they do it anymore.
I don't know. There were floating heads. I could still feel the pain. It was a whole thing. It was not worth it. Okay. Like just
I
no.
didn't get offered
No, thank
anything
you.
other than the epidural. But
Really?
maybe it's because I didn't
Oh,
ask. I don't know. But then, like in when I had my first, I remember one, I was mad at my nurse because she didn't tell me anything. I was on
yeah.
Pitocin in bed without an epidural for like 9 hours, and it was the worst
Oh,
pain of my life. Nobody told me
yeah.
to stand up. Nobody told me to move. And then afterwards, they were like, "Oh yeah, it would have been easier if you were up." And I'm like, "Why didn't anybody tell me that? I've never done this
Right?
before. I don't know what I'm
Right?
doing." Um,
Right.
and so it was awful. It was terrible. And then I remember my nurse after, I remember Tiffany was there. And the next day, it was like time for more Tylenol. And I was like, "Oh, can I have some more Tylenol?" And my nurse goes, "Do you need it?" And I was like, I called Tiffany and I was like, "Am I not allowed to have Tylenol?" Because she made it seem like I wasn't supposed to. And Tiffany was like, absolutely, you can have Tylenol. And then they switched nurses, and the morning
Hmm.
nurse was like, do you want a Vicodin? And I was like, uh-huh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah, I
much.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Stronger than
Yeah.
Tylenol? Sign me up.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a whole experience.
it is.
But
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
okay, I'm gonna take us a hard left now, though.
Let's go.
We're going back to books, which has no pregnancy in it, just so you
Woohoo!
know. Okay, our book of the month, Variation.
I loved it. It was
Yep,
such a good and easy read. It
yep,
was a nice romance with a little bit of like mystery twists where you're trying to figure it out.
uh-huh,
Um, and I really liked it. I will say it is helpful to be a ballerina because
yes,
when they describe the classes and the dances, like you actually understand what they're
yep,
doing and how hard it is and how amazing and how beautiful it looks. So I feel like that is like the one caveat. If you don't know
yes,
ballet, then you might not understand it as much, which is not a huge deal. It's,
right,
you know, a small part of the story, but I did like that aspect that having
yes.
that background knowledge.
Yes,
Hmm.
I loved it. I thought it was such an easy read. It sucked me in enough that I was like, "Oh, I'm invested in these characters." I loved the ballet piece of it just because we grew up as ballerinas.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so full disclaimer, if you haven't listened to this book yet or you haven't read it, we're gonna do some spoiler alerts. I want to know your thoughts on how it was growing up in the ballet world. And did you feel pressure one way or another to be a certain way?
Yes and no. I think it didn't necessarily come from like our mom or our teachers because I think we
Yeah.
were in a great company.
Yeah.
Like we
Yep.
were in a very healthy ballet company and ballet
Hmm.
studio where that wasn't like pushed on you.
Yeah.
But just the ballet world in general, you are comparing yourself a lot. And so that was difficult. And there is such a strive for perfection. Now, I will
Hmm.
say too, for me, being the youngest and the last of the girls, because we all did ballet, there was this extra layer of pressure because I was Tiffany and Taryn's sister. And so coming up in the studio that way, it was, oh, this is Tiffany and Taryn's studio. And like Tiffany had phenomenal stage presence. Everybody talked about it all the time. Taryn had phenomenal technique. And so I felt this pressure to have both because that's what I was told a lot too. Like, oh, yeah, your technique looks like Taryn's and your stage presence is like Tiff. So you've got both, which was a
Yep.
huge compliment. But I also felt like I had to work really hard to hold both because I
Yeah.
was like, wow, like I want that. And so, like,
Yeah.
there's pressure, but I feel like for us, it was more internal than
Yeah.
like the studio that we were in, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's interesting. So I I had some slightly different teachers. A lot of the teachers we had were the same as we kind of went through it. I did have some slightly different teachers. And I do feel like, and I don't know if again it's that 10-year age gap, because I feel like in the 10 years between us, um, there was a change in society, which
Hmm.
I think also changed in the dance world
Hmm.
of your body type as a woman.
Hmm.
So I still honestly feel that pressure. So my daughter takes at at the studio that we took at, and it is super body positive. And it's one of those things that I keep a close eye on. I taught at that studio. When I go back now and I run into some of my old dance teachers, I do in my own mind have to talk myself out of feeling crappy about what my body is now.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I almost want to like walk in with a sign that says like my thyroid went to crap and now I can't control it and I know that I an extra 30 pounds on me. Please forgive me.
Oh,
I don't know if that, and I know that, and that is not anything to have to do with
yeah,
our studio or
yeah,
our teachers. It's just in my head. And so I'm wondering if it is that 10-year gap difference of like we were told we had to be stick thin. Like that just, it was what it was. And it didn't necessarily come from the studio,
yeah.
but also we were in leotards and tights staring at ourselves in a mirror
Yes,
all the time.
yes, yes. And like it's hard because you are like we weren't allowed to wear skirts or anything because again, like
Yeah.
they have to look at your
You want to
body.
check your alignment?
So then
Yep.
you're looking at your body. So like if you're bloated or if you eat something bigger, then
Hmm.
you're staring at yourself and you're like, "Oh wow." So like
Hmm.
it is hard and that's
Yeah.
where I wonder like it, it's different but it's
Hmm.
also not because
Yeah.
you're really hard on yourself
Yeah. Yeah.
to fit the picture of what a ballerina looks like, especially
Yes.
we love ballet. And so it wasn't
Yeah.
just within our studio. Like we would go see ballets, we would watch ballets, we would look at the
Hmm.
pictures, we would look at the magazines. And so it wasn't just like this tiny little safe world. It was like,
Yeah.
this is the ballet world and you're
Right.
long and you're lean and you're tiny and
Right.
yeah.
It was an interesting, like, it was just an interesting play on, like, especially because, like, in this book, the pressure came from the mom, which our
Yes.
mom never
No.
was like that,
No.
like, at all.
Yeah.
Again, our dance teachers were not like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I picked it up. I think I picked it up from media, honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
is where I took this thing. But I am very well tuned into how my daughter speaks about her body and how I speak about my body in front of her
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want her to be addressing these same self-conscious issues
Yeah.
that I work with, especially when her body does inevitably change as it very well could. I
Always.
mean, it's
It's always
it's going to
going
happen.
to.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like childbirth changes you in
Yeah.
different ways and then your body just doesn't look the same as it did when you were 19 years old, which is so silly because I'm like, oh, I wish I looked like that like I did when I was 19. Well, how is that even realistic? Like I've had 3 children.
And you were a baby. That's what I always say.
Right.
I'm when we like it's hard because like and I feel like it's hard for me to even sit in this place and say that because
Hmm.
I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, you're small still, so like you can't
Yeah.
talk about it." But it's like, but you still feel that pressure because my body
You do.
is still different than
Uh-huh.
what it was. And so like
Yeah.
you're constantly fighting it. And I think
Hmm.
in the ballet world in general, the goal is perfection. The
Yep.
lines are perfect. It's slow, it's intentional, it's everything,
Hmm.
it's for a reason. You're not letting go like you are in
Yeah.
other dances. Like you are
Yep.
together. Everything
Yeah.
has a purpose and a spot and a position. And so I think that world just opens you to that. But it's as a
Right.
mom, you do have to be really careful with your kids because, and
Hmm.
girls especially, like it's better in the media than it was. But yeah, when we were
Yeah.
growing up, like, oh my God, when Jessica Simpson, when they said she was like obese, like, and she was an
Yeah.
average size person. And then in
Yeah.
Sex and the City, when Samantha came back and they're like, oh, she is a pooch. I remember watching that and
Yeah.
being like, what pooch? Like, what are we even
Right.
talking about right now?
Right.
it
Yeah.
it was so bad. And so I'm really glad that we're in more of a body positivity place, like
Yeah.
for our kids as a society.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie, like my kids, they don't dance yet or anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it does make me nervous for that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I have hesitancy to put them in
Hmm.
studios. And again, when we were in Nebraska for a little bit, they did dance there at our
Yeah.
studio because I know
Yeah.
that studio and I know the teachers.
Right.
But like
Right.
being here in Chicago, I don't know the studios and I don't know the teachers. And so
Yep.
I have a pretty big hesitancy to put them into that world because
Absolutely fair. Yeah.
yeah, I don't want it for
Yeah.
them. I don't want that
Right.
pressure.
Right. I
Yeah.
don't think I would put my daughter in a different studio
Yeah.
for that reason. Like
Yeah.
I know the studio that she's in because I grew up in it, and also I taught in it. So
Yeah.
not only do I know it from a student, I know the head of the studio there and her philosophy on all things body positivity,
Hmm.
which is important to me. I don't know that in any other studio.
Yeah. And then
So that makes me hesitant. Yeah.
yes, and the book did a great job of like even showing that, like
Hmm.
the in the book, the mom obviously like pushes a lot and is really hard on
Yeah.
them. And then Juniper, the little girl, she goes to a
Hmm.
studio and the teacher's like throwing stuff at them,
Yeah.
which is like, oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's normal for this class. And it's like, oh my God, this is my fear. Like it's
Right?
just awful,
Exactly. Yeah.
awful. Like,
I don't know. It brought up some interesting thoughts.
yes,
Did you, obviously, again, this is a huge spoiler, please. Um, did you catch on to the fact that the mom had dementia?
I did not.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
did not. I did not catch on to that. Now, I listened to this book.
Uh-huh.
I did the
Yeah.
audio and I didn't read it. And I don't do that a lot
Yeah.
because my ADD is in the way a little bit.
Yeah.
So I did not catch on to the fact that she had dementia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I did. I suspected it from the
Okay.
beginning. And I didn't know if that was because we just went through dementia with both of our grandmas.
Yeah.
So maybe I was in that space
Hmm.
of like, oh, something isn't right. She must have dementia. And then when it got to it, so like normally, remember how we said I never see endings coming? I actually did see that one.
Yay.
I know, I caught on to it. So by the way, yesterday I was having this conversation with my husband. He's been listening to more audiobooks now. And so I'll be like, "Oh, this was a good one. I really liked it." So he's like, "Well, did you like it?" And I was like, "I did like it. It was like a mystery, but more like a thinking mystery." And he was like, "Aren't all mysteries thinking mysteries?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Well, did you see the ending?" And I was like, "No, why would I ever try?" Sometimes I think I read so fast that I don't actually like comprehend some of the things. I'm just along for the ride. We'll see what happens. It's similar to life.
You're just going. You're just, you know what?
Constantly
It's fine.
surprised. The
Now,
universe is going to surprise me with good. I trust that.
and see, like we've talked about, my brain is the opposite, where I'm
Mhm.
constantly looking for the answer. So even in this book, not a huge mystery, pretty
Yeah.
romance, but there are things that you're trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out
Yeah.
who's Juniper belonged to?
Yeah.
And so I found myself trying to figure that out the whole time. Like I was convinced that Hudson was the dad, like
Yeah.
convinced for a long
Yes.
time.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I already know. And so then when you got to that point and he's not, I was like, oh, I was surprised. I thought I was right.
You are
I
not.
was
See,
not.
now though, because we've had these conversations and I've had these conversations with my husband, now I do read it a little bit more, looking at like, what am I missing? Or like the Frida McFadden books. She's really good at like, she'll leave you breadcrumbs,
Okay.
but I've read enough of her books now that I'm like, I know that's a different breadcrumb that's taking me down a different path. So I don't trust that breadcrumb. Where's the real breadcrumb?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I have zero faith in her breadcrumbs that she drops. I'm like, that's false. You're wrong.
Yes. Now,
Uh-huh. I am getting
there
smarter at that.
good, good. There was one line in the book that I loved that we have talked
Yeah.
about, and I can't remember exactly what it is. I don't have the book in front of me, but it was
Yeah.
when she goes to the studio and like Hudson and Allie figure out that she's at the studio and they go watch, and
Uh-huh.
Hudson's
Yeah.
all mad and he's like, "Oh, she's bossy and she manipulates everybody and she's doing what she wants and she's not thinking about anyone else. Like, who does that?" And Allie goes, "It sounds like a CEO." And I was like, "Yes." Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Women
Absolutely.
power. These are the
Hmm.
strong-willed girls that we want
Yep.
to raise. It's
Right?
exhausting to raise, but you want them to do that. You want them to
Yep.
push for what they want and like
Yep.
use their voice and use the
Yep.
resources that they have. It was such a small line, but such a good one. It's like,
It
yes.
was a good one. I
Yeah.
feel like that's like an angel line for you where it like jumps out at you and you're like, "Oh, universe, I am listening to that line. Why, thank you."
Yes.
I accept that one.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. The
Uh-huh.
other reason I loved this book, now I love romance
Yeah.
stories, I love romance movies, all of it, okay? And I, like we've talked about, I find people fascinating. I always want to know the why behind
Yeah.
people, like why people do things.
Yeah.
And so I really liked this story because I think it was such a good example of like a romance story of two people who have these walls and they're so scared that they're so
Yeah.
guarded. But it's like you want to scream at the book because you're like, if you were just both honest with each other, like you would come together so much faster. And I think it's
Right?
such a good lesson about life of like,
Uh-huh.
stop playing the game. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you might get hurt. Yes, they might not feel the same way, but like, they
Yeah.
could feel the same way. Like, just be
Yeah.
open and honest and vulnerable and like, such a good
Yeah.
story.
It was a good story. I
Yeah,
did really like it.
it was good. I liked it. It was an easy read. It was
Yeah.
great. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so for next month, I didn't even put it out on Instagram. Sorry, guys. You all can have opinions in May on what kind of book that we read. But what I really want to read, and I want Mel to read it because I read it last year and I'm going to reread it, is the Jodi Picoult book By Any Other Name. And I don't want to give too much away about it. Okay. On our Instagram page, I will link what the book looks like, and you guys can read the synopsis on it. I'm really curious to get your perspective on it because it was amazing. Like to the point where I actually wanted my oldest son to read it. And I was
Oh,
like, this is a really good book. So I don't know. I'm really excited about it. So I voted and I won.
yeah.
And that's our book for April. So
Yay!
yay!
Voted, did it, decided.
Yep, it was a unanimous decision by myself.
No one vetoed. Everyone was on board.
Right? Exactly.
Okay, so now here's okay. When you read a new book,
Uh-huh.
do you read the synopsis? Do you read what it's about? Because, like, I'm not gonna lie, my favorite thing with books is to just pick it up and read it. I don't look at the back, I don't look at the front. I literally just pick it up and read it. And I really like doing that because then I go
Yeah.
in totally blind. Because I try and figure stuff out, if I
Yeah.
read the back of the book, then the whole time I'm trying to figure it out instead of just enjoying the story. So like I
Okay,
can't look
fair.
at it.
Fair. So I think I read the back of the books, but also I'm pretty much like a goldfish. So once I read the back, I kind of forget about it. I just know that like I know the authors that I like. I will read the back of a book to see which one I'm in the mood for, which one speaks to me the most. So like this First Lie Wins, Kevin, my husband, actually last month just randomly goes, "Let's go to Target." He goes, "Let's go buy you a book." And I was like, it's like my love language. I was like, wait, really? Hey? Like I could not jump in the car fast enough. And I think I read the back of like six books because like I love all the books. So I'm like, "Ugh, I just don't know which one to decide." Okay, so I ended up having one in my hand. We walk past this aisle, and I kid you not, this book, nobody touched it, nobody was around it. It jumps out onto the floor, and both me and Kevin turn around and we're like, uh, okay. And I pick it up and I was like, I guess this is the book I'm reading.
The universe decided for you.
I was like, this is the one you want.
Hello. Pay attention.
It was really good. But okay, so here's my question. So I keep track of all my books on Goodreads, on the
Uh-huh.
Goodreads app. So that way I know if I've read it before. So now I have it all on Goodreads. But at the end, they always ask you to rate the book. And very rarely do I go below 4 stars, 4 out of 5 stars. Most of my books are 5 stars because I'm so freaking proud of these authors for writing a book in general that I'm like, how could I give you less than 5 stars? Or maybe 4 stars. I think I've maybe given one book 2 stars, like maybe. And that was a really terrible book.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? I think that all the time. It's why I love like art stuff so much. I'm not gonna lie. I do.
Hmm.
I'm like Tiff said, I'm an artist hippie. Like, and the reason I love it is because same thing. You write this story, and I'm fascinated by the stories and the shows and the movies, all of it. When I read a book, I'm just like, especially when it's a series, more than one book. I always talk to Tyler about this. I'm like, do you think that they came up with this at the beginning, or do you think that they added this twist at the end? Because this
Right?
puzzle piece matches this puzzle piece from 4 books ago. And like,
Uh-huh.
how did they do that? My mind is blown. Like, the
Right?
creativity to be able to
Hmm.
create this world and the stories and the characters, like it's just, it's so good. It's so
Hmm. Yeah.
impressive. So I'm like you,
Yeah.
where I'm like, obviously I'm going to give you 4 or 5 stars. You wrote a
Right?
book. You pulled this,
Absolutely.
you wrote this story out of air, like nothing, nothing. And you
Uh-huh.
created these characters and this world and this story and these twists and turns and like, amazing. 10 out of 10. Your brain. I love
Right?
it.
Absolutely. This is why I could never be like a book talk influencer
No,
because I feel like they're all 5 out of 5 stars. You should read them all. And then people will be like, they can't all be 5 out of 5. I'm like, yes, they can.
but they worked really hard. So we
Right? Do
should
you know
read
how
it.
much time went into them writing this book? We should absolutely give them 5 out of 5 stars. 100%. Not even a question.
You know what? We're just girls. We're
Right.
supportive. You know what?
Right.
That's what we are. It's
Right.
girlhood to our core. We want to hype
Exactly.
everybody up. Speaking of, I
Absolutely.
saw that last night. Again, we're in the city. We went to a restaurant and I was walking to the bathroom, and in the bathroom there was a girl like taking pictures of herself, and I was like, "I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I have to sneak behind you." And she was like, "No, I'm sorry." And I was like, "No, girl, you look great. Like do your thing." And then I was
Yep.
walking back to the table, and there was 2 girls like on the stairs, and their friend was like doing a whole photo shoot, and they were like, "Oh, we're sorry." And I was like, "No, girls, you look great. Keep going." And they were like, "You
Right?
look gorgeous too." And I was like, this is girlhood. This is why I love girls. Like we're just
Right?
hyping everybody up all the time.
Exactly. There's enough negativity. It doesn't need to come from
Yes.
us, okay?
No. We need to hype each other up all the time. Don't be
Yes.
embarrassed about your bathroom selfie. Take it, girl. You look good.
Yes.
I'm
The
just gonna
lighting is
sneak
great
behind
in
you.
here,
Yeah.
okay?
Yes. Go. Go, girl. Do you
Yes.
need help? Can I help you?
Right. You want me to take it for you?
Yeah. We're here to hype everybody up. So you wrote a
Right.
book and maybe we hated it, but 5 out of 5. You wrote a book.
Fine.
Good job.
Doesn't matter if I hated it. It just wasn't my story, but I'm sure it is the story for somebody else. So I am proud of you for writing that book, okay?
Yes. It's the energy we all need to have.
That's right. Exactly.
So good.
So good, so good. Okay,
Uh-huh.
well, I think that that it probably concludes our talk today. So hopefully we will be back next week as well. Now that we took a little 2 week hiatus.
Yes.
But you know what? Life happens.
Hmm.
And we went in knowing that life was gonna life when it was gonna life. So we trust the timing and we trust that this was meant to come out whenever this comes out, when you are listening to it, and that you are meant to be listening to it. So
Yes,
we trust it all.
absolutely.
It's fine.
We
Yeah.
trust it all. Thank you guys for being here. We will check in next week and see what we're going to talk about.
And don't forget to like us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram. We are on TikTok now too. And then you can listen to us on Spotify. Ratings would be amazing if you guys have any ratings out there, and feel free to share it with friends, okay? All right.
Yes.
Bye.
Love
Love
you.
you.
Bye.